Hello! In today's Archaeoscoop, my top 3 headlines are as follows. Headline number 1 comes from Witherley in Leicestershire, where in October a small lead coffin was uncovered. It measures around about 3 feet or just under a metre in length. And it's been making a succession of headlines in the past couple of months. I'm fairly sure some of these headlines have already been included in the links for previous Archaeoscoops, in fact. But the reason why it's been making headlines is because it's a child's coffin from what is potentially an early Christian Roman burial. So it's a really interesting combination of cultures, but also that it is a child's burial is of particular interest. The news today follows news on Monday that the coffin contained some jet bracelets, small bracelets obviously for the wrist, made out of jet. And the news today was really just confirming that they think that the remains are in fact female, and that over the next few weeks, possibly over the next 5 weeks, tests will be being done on the fragmentary skeletal remains within to confirm, amongst other things, the gender of the skeleton. So this is a story really just to keep an eye on. I will come back to it, but it's been gathering pace, so I thought I'd highlight it. But actually there are 3 headlines under this one story, so I'll put all 3 of those in a 1A, 1B, 1C below. So do check that out. That's headline number 1. Headline number 2 is research from Mesoamerica, actually from southern Mexico, where it seems that chili has been used, or was being used, in spicy beverages as early as 400 BC. Tests on pottery from between 400 BC and 300 AD have confirmed that capsicum residue has been found on the pottery, and the type of pots in which the residue has been found indicates that it was for pouring, for example, for drinks, this kind of thing. So a slightly surprising use of chili, especially given its use, for example, in Spain, Portugal, other parts of the world, as a spice simply for eating, not necessarily for drinking. And I'm also happy to say that this news story is reporting on an open access journal article. PLOS ONE have this article for you to go and have a look at. So again, this headline comes with 2 links. Link 2A will be the news story. Link 2B, if you really want to follow it up, will be the journal article. Well worth a read. Very interesting stuff. We've already heard actually a few months ago, I can't quite remember when, the use of chocolate being uncovered in this part of the world, and now the use of chilies. It's not surprising that people were using them. After all, it's where this stuff comes from, but it's interesting how they're being used, not being used in the same way that we use them, for example, or that other people have used them. So that's headline number 2 anyway. Headline number 3 comes from Peru and the Nazca Lines, where the Ica area is being subject to what are being called invasions, invaders. It's illegal use of land, including siphoning off sort of land with stone walls, abandoning equipment, vandalism, and also actually the destruction of some elements of the Nazca Lines, actually. And the reason why this story is interesting and a little bit worrying is that it seems that no one's really taking responsibility. There's quite a lot of outcry at this, but as the archaeologist towards the end of the story says, the problem is actually that the authorities don't react until damage is done, and these people are able to settle in these parts of the land with impunity. They're able to do this without any sort of anyone saying no. And what they're suggesting is just simple things like, for example, signage and putting up fences, demarcating land which is protected is probably a good idea. But unfortunately, as it stands, this story seems to be highlighting a situation where it's very fluid, but also no one's quite got a handle on it. And in the meantime, this invasion of land by people who are seemingly rather desperate continues, and this is having a detrimental effect on the world-famous Nazca Lines. So that's well worth taking a look at and having a bit of a think about, really. What do you think about this? Should people be allowed, in extraordinary economic circumstances perhaps, to use this sort of land? Or should there be possibly other land set aside for such invasions, and that maybe should be more of an effort made to protect the monuments. Certainly archaeologists in Peru believe the latter. Anyway, that's headline number 3. For those news stories and for other news stories in the past few days, all you need to do, as ever, is check out the video information and read to your heart's content. So please do enjoy those stories. I'm really pleased actually to have been able to bring that journal article as well. Increasingly, it seems that open access journals are touching on archaeology, and that's really good for me and also really good for you, because it means you can actually read some first-hand research and data and evidence. That's great. So until next time, please do, as ever, take care, and bye-bye.